Good morning. Denise Dryden here from Whitefish, Montana on Facebook Live. And today we're going to talk about how to align with your child. And I left my notes at home as I came down to this beautiful place on the river. So I've been told that I do a lot better without my notes. So let's see. So how to align with your child. I want to put this in context first, which is we're going to talk about the parent-child relationship today, and you know, it's about any relationship, right? So we can put this in context of your love relationships, your work relationships. Hi, Kelly. So glad you could join me in sending hearts across. So if we know that this can be moved into any context, so whatever lens you're watching this with, just put it towards the relationship that you primarily are interested in. And because I'm a mother, I'm going to start with the child relationship, right? Doesn't that make sense? So to begin, I want to talk about energy. And energy, according to Einstein, can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another, right? And our bodies are human energy systems, which means that everything that we do, whether we breathe or we interact, is all an exchange of energy. And so it's not woo-woo and it's not metaphysical, it's science, and it's about the exchange of energy. And we know that our brain has a certain energy it runs on. We also know that our heart has its own energy system, and that the intelligence system in the heart is 5,000 times more effective, stronger, more efficient than the brain. So when we're talking about how to align, it means that we have to find out how to access what we put out in energy, right? And how we put that energy into a relationship with another. And so when we're talking about how to align, I want to put a perspective out there, which is when we interview, when we date, when we have a significant event that really matters to us, we ground ourselves, we get really present, and we bring our best self forward, right? Of course we do. So that's the kind of experience that we're looking for, which is how do you become really conscious of what you do, how do you relax, and how do you connect? Because it's all about connection. And so when we're talking about how to align with a child, it means that we want to pay attention. It means that we want to listen. It means that we need to adjust and monitor and adjust and sort of meet them where they are, and then we need to let things develop. And the last part I want to put in there is that then we can apply discernment, which is, I can see where that's going, and maybe I might want to put a little barrier down there if it goes too far. But I don't know that yet, so I'm going to play with it for a while, and when I know that it's starting to get close to a boundary or to an issue, then I can gently redirect, or I can put a sentence down that says this is where it's starting to get uncomfortable for me, or I'm thinking that is not a good next step that you want to take. Because what we're doing is we're gently monitoring that conversation, gently. And so when we're talking about how to align with a child, I want you to also keep in mind some of the sensitivity work that I've been presenting over and over again, which is 20% of the population on our planet is highly sensitive. And they are very aware of these energetic systems that we have and pay attention to things that we don't pay attention to. They notice things that we don't always notice. So put it in the context of, in any relationship, act as if you're talking to or interacting with a sensitive. It makes a lot more sense. So when we are present and we put our energy form, directed towards the other person, we're paying attention, we're listening, we're adjusting. That person can meet us and we feel a sense of homeostasis. We feel a sense of balance. How do you create that with a child? So some of the tools that I used when my children were really young was I would bring a bunch of, especially with toddlers, 4 and 5, 6-year-olds, I would bring out a big bundle of gardening tools. And then I would just go out in the backyard and sit next to them and start to sort of pluck the weeds out and make sure that I wasn't clouded in my head going, you know, like, you know, I don't like this job. This isn't what I want to do. Instead, what I did was focus on being present, attentive, listening, and doing a task that kept me present in their lives. So after a little while, I'd have a kid come over and go, "Can I help?" Or, "What you doing, Mom?" Or I could start to talk about the flowers, or talk about the difference between flowers and weeds, and how weeds like to pretend like they're flowers. And then we're having a real conversation. It's authentic. It's a relationship. When they're crawling and when they're little and they have toys all over the place, sit down and start to put toys together. As they get older, bring books out into the front room and sit them down in a basket and sit down and read. Make sure you're not reading where you're clouded again in your "Mom needs space, get away from me," or just sit and read and say, you know, "This is my quiet time. Do you want to come join me for quiet time?" Another way that I used to do this, and it carried all the way over into the teens, was that we had a big drawer of knives and cutting boards and different kinds of knives as the kids got older. And I would invite them to come cook with me. And so they would bring their stools over when they were little and chop. And the most important thing was not to be that helicopter hyper vigilant mom, which is, "Oh no, you don't chop it that way, you've got to do it this way." And just let them chop it however they wanted. And then say, "Do you think that all of those are going to fit in your mouth?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, no." And then cut them back up. And so it's about coming in from, I'm present, I'm paying attention, I'm adjusting, and I'm just letting things happen in a natural way. Now, let's talk about what happens when you're out of alignment with a child, okay? Because I think this is going to be really important too. We come into it from, if we're paying attention, then we can monitor and adjust and meet them where they are, and they can monitor and adjust, like in any relationship, right? But what happens when we come in and we're like, "Nah," and the kid comes in and they're here, and we think we're present, but we're not. What happens is that this inability to match can look like static. It can look like irritability. It can look like a lack of connection. It can come out as judgment. It can come out as blame. It triggers our emotions and gets us into a place where we're not really paying attention, listening, and adjusting. And what I notice is that when we're out of alignment, we think the other person needs to come into alignment with us, as opposed to checking in and saying, "Am I present? Am I here? Am I completely holding space for this person to show up and interact with me?" And if you're not, then you got to drop everything and figure out how to get back into your own sort of self-awareness, your own self-management, so that you're like, "Okay, I'm here. And when I'm here and you're not here, I guess that's not what you want to do right now." And then I love San Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements, which is, don't take it personally. They may have homework to do. They may have a project on their mind. They may have a game that they want to play. They may have something going on, and it's not about you. If you're in your own self-alignment, right, then it doesn't matter. Then you're like, what I'm noticing, or what I see that wants to happen, is different than what I thought might happen today. And then again, monitor and adjust. And if they're in a quiet place, go get something quiet and do it with them. Even if it's just, on your computer doing homework from the day before, from that night, or excuse me, that day that you have to do that night, whatever it is. So when we're out of alignment, it creates this sort of reactionary household, and it can be loud because we yell to try to get that alignment in. We kind of bully to get that alignment back. We get hurt feelings, and then we react out of those. And what I'm going to say is that causes a lot of dissonance in a relationship, and it can also be and feel really abusive, which is, I'm in my own place, Mom, and you aren't happy with that, so you're going to yell and micromanage and push me until you feel like I'm paying attention, as opposed to coming down and finding out, what is it I need to do to get this child's attention, or to join them in attention. Now, this is not an easy skill. This takes years of awareness of what it can look like, or years, months, weeks, depending on how used to this you are. The piece that I want to close with is the concept of resilience. And resilience is being able to hit a wall and go, that didn't work. And how do I regather, reassess, pay attention, listen, adapt, and come back? And resilience in teens, resilience in young adults, when we watch our children make some choices that you're like, what was that all about? Means that we have to come back and go, how do I readapt myself to this situation and come at it paying attention, listening, and adjusting. So this is the kind of stuff that I do. I coach those who parent, those who are trying to do life and parent at the same time, and those who are in various stages of letting go of parenting, you know, whether it's empty nesting, retirement, all of that stuff, because it always ends up being about us in relationship with other people. If you're interested, give me a call. Let's talk. Drop me an email. Ask me to come do whatever, you know, whatever's interesting about these topics. You can find me on DeniseStridenCoaching.com, and it's Sunday, so have a great rest of the weekend and enjoy your week. Take care. Bye-bye.